I am Dungeon Thrasher Lenny Blade, and this is the Dungeons and Thrashers show. And as you can see, I am here again with my good friend Kirk Reed.
Hello. I'm glad to be here to help Mr. Thrasher thrash.
Yes. So today we are taking a look at the mini dungeon Tome from AAW Games. So I'm not overly familiar with AAW, so I went on their website to do some research. The Dungeon Thrasher doing research, that's a first. But so I found out that they do a lot of PDF releases. That seems to be their thing, and they've done over 400 of these mini dungeons, PDFs, of course. So what this is a collection of their first 130 or so mini dungeons and some other stuff as well. And apart from PDFs, they also have some printed books dealing mostly with spelunking and dark elves or a drow and the underground and things like that. So interestingly enough, their latest release seems to be a soundtrack called Mini Dungeon Soundtrack.
Yeah.
Inventive. But that's the name of it, and it's just meant to be used with this to enhance the experience of these adventures. So I thought that was a little bit original. Not many companies do that.
Right.
So I thought that was good. So the first thing, because Kirk was the one that got this book into our hands, and the first thing I thought about when he handed me the book was just, wow. So do you have anything to say about the physical build of the book and maybe the artwork and things like that?
Well, I'll tell you, so I found it to be very generic, which is really helpful a lot. And I liked its construction. I liked the way it's put together. I like the index. The one thing, I wish it was bigger. However, these guys are actually coming out soon with a Mini Dungeon Tome 2, which is on Kickstarter.
Ah, did not know that. That's cool. Decent paper stock. I think everything is good. I would say the artwork is also top-notch usually. There is one thing though I would like to point out, and that's if you take a look at this dungeon, for example. I'm going to show you a better picture, but many of the dungeons are a little bit too dark, I would say. Of course you can always enhance this if you copy it by yourself and blow it up to use and print it out. You can always you can make it brighter, but I think it's many of them are too dark, I would say.
Right, yes. That was my take also, that the art was very, very nice. I really liked the art, except many of the dungeon layouts or the encounter layouts were too dark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And so it's printed on the cover that this is Pathfinder compatible. But really, I would say it's almost system agnostic, I would say.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
I mean, in the back, the stat blocks are for Pathfinder in the back here are the appendices. But I think you could easily adapt to any system you like, because you can still use the adventures, the NPCs, and the maps and everything. So don't be scared if you don't play Pathfinder. You can use this with any system, really. We do play Pathfinder, so it's good for us.
We played Pathfinder 1E, not 2E.
Yeah.
But the stats in the back, if you want to use them for their monsters, it makes it easy to just use them and not have to look it up, but you can use any stats for the monster that they have, so it's completely generic.
Yeah, which is a good thing that you mentioned as well. And the dungeons themselves, I thought were very varied. And also, I like that it's called mini dungeon, but for example, there's one called the Broken River, and this is just a river and wilderness. So it's not everything is just a one-page dungeon. So there are other things as well.
So let me say that the book covers forests, dungeons, urban, underground, and river and lakes, an aquatic bunch, and then desert and Arctic. They only have one swamp and one mountain scenario, though.
Mm. I thought that was a little bit, you would think mountains would be a little bit more prevalent, but I mean, it's every...
Well, what I was missing was actually tropical. I would have liked to have had some jungle encounters, but that's just a nitpick because there are an awful lot of encounters in here.
Yeah, for sure. And they're not all dungeons, like we said. For example, on page 194, there is one called the Unreachable Terror. And this is like a mini adventure. It's not even a dungeon, it's a map of an area. And then you go around, and there's even, you have to gather information to get clues on where to go, and they have this random table. And there are actually quite a few random tables,
yes,
spread out through the books that you can easily use. And they have NPCs and the story hooks and things like that. And this is just 2 pages, you know, so it's very dense, very compact, everything, which I like. Do you have anything to say about?
Well, okay, so the first of all, the index is broken down by levels, okay, which is really handy. So the levels go from levels 1 through 20, which is covers just about anything you want. Almost all are designed for PCs, which are 4 to 6 in number. 4 to 6 heroes, which is probably the optimum group. You can make it be for more or less by just simply adding or deleting monsters or essentially modifying stats. So it's really tailorable to that kind of adjustment by a DM.
Yeah, I agree. There are in the back here there's one appendix. Oh, you can see anyways. But new creatures and new hazards as well that I thought I should mention. And also, just so you know, the stat blocks at the end, they are just that. It's not like a monster manual. There are no pictures. This is just information,
right.
Only text. Which is good, it keeps it clean.
But when I do pictures, I just go on the internet, and there's pictures galore. So if you need a picture, you can get it off the internet of whatever kind of monster you wanted.
Yeah, we tend to print the stat blocks of the monsters on one side, and then sort of upside down a picture of the monster, and then on the Game Master screen we would fold the paper so the players see the artwork and the DM has the information, the stat blocks on his side. So that works very well.
Yes, yeah.
And that was actually the first time I saw that was our friend John, who plays with us. He did that. That was the first time I've seen that, actually. So, but anyways, yeah. So one of the things in the blocks at the back is essentially traps, and it calls it hazards, but and there's all kinds of different things there, and they're pretty nice. You can read through them, and they're easy to drop into thing if you need a trap or a hazard. Why it's easy to
picked them out from there, I was kind of impressed with that. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And also, this is the kind of product that not just we want to see, but I think most people are interested in this kind of product with short, small chunks that you can just take and drop in your own campaign. I think we're not really interested in chapter after chapter of fluff from someone else's world anymore. I don't know, do you have any...
Yeah,
me and Kirk, we've been talking about this for length.
I have more world stuff, enough that would last any person, even a young person, for a lifetime. So what I really need is content like this that I can drop in when I need something as a side quest. And so there's one thing that I was disappointed about. I won't say it's a deficiency, but I would like to have seen more of. And that was because all the adventures, almost all of them, are for 4 to 6 characters. I would have liked to have seen some single solo PC adventures at different levels, so that you could have, for example, a mage in search of some hard-to-find spell component, or a cleric in search of some artifact for his church, or a thief adventure. Now, you can make, if you have the dungeon or the area, you can make it be for whatever class you want with just a few adjustments. So I really would have liked to have seen that. I hope that in their volume 2 that they maybe address some of that, but I'll have to admit that the 4 to 6 PCs, it seems to be very, very, very popular.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I would recommend it, and I also think this is a lost opportunity for Wizards of the Coast, that they don't release this kind of stuff anymore. They did that Tales from the Yawning Portal, which is like these dungeons you could put in any setting. But I think I don't know why they don't do stuff like this. They tend to do mostly campaigns nowadays with and they did all this like the Magic the Gathering world, and they have a lot of
they seem to like the world background, lots of explanation, but there's so much of that exists now. Back all the way from the 1E all the way through the 5E, that you really don't need any more of that. You just really need to have the scenarios that keep the players going.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I would highly recommend this. I think that its generic ability really saves a lot of time, and I find that as I get older, and I'm only here because I'm so ugly I make Lenny look good. I make the Thrashers look good, but us old people really are lazy, and so it works really good for a lazy DM to be able to drop things in.
Yeah. And some people also have families and things like that. They don't know any better, so they don't have as much time to create their own adventures and whatnot. And I would you can check out AAW and their coming Kickstarter, right?
It's Kickstarter right now, and it's about halfway through. And so I have already signed up to get a copy of it because I liked their first one so much. I said, well, I'll just do this again. So anyway, I think that they're seeming to be doing a very good job. I wish Wizards, or I wish that Pathfinder actually would do one.
They are still with Paizo, right? Pathfinder?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's pretty much everything we have to say about this, and it's recommended. Oh, and also we are not affiliated with AAW in any way, shape, or form. This is just
Yeah, we're at the user end of the.
exactly. This is just a sincere recommendation. So, Mini Dungeon Tome recommended.
Recommended.